Hi there. Today I'm going to be going over the basics of editing raw photos in Adobe Bridge and in Adobe Camera Raw Editor. Uh, Adobe Bridge is the photo organizational program that I use because it works well with all the other Adobe products such as Photoshop and InDesign. So you can see right now I have my layout set to film strip up here at the top. That's just kind of my preferred layout when it comes to editing photos. So I can see my entire gallery along here at the bottom and larger images up the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this shot right here. I've starred it. It's one of the things you can do to organize your photos. And you can see the photo extension here is a CR2. So it's a CR2 raw file that I've inputted from my DSLR camera. So what we're going to do is right click on the thumbnail over here and select Open in Camera Raw. Camera Raw is the preferred editing software for photos. Just close this down. And this is the window that comes up once you've edited Camera Raw. I'm just going to resize it here for the screen. Just give me a sec. So while I'm resizing this, you can actually see that here on the left-hand side, we have a version of our photo. And then along the right-hand side here, we have our basic editing functions for Camera Raw. And I'm going to move through them just from top to bottom and explain a little bit about each one. So white balance refers to what the white balance of the camera was set at when you shot the image. And this one you can actually see it. We have a fairly neutral, true white balance. The image is neither too warm or too cold. And white balance comes in two different sliders. So as you slide to the left, what you get is a cooler light balance, and you slide to the right, you get a warmer white balance. And what you want to do here is just try and find a little bit of a natural, neutral white color. And you can adjust it for sort of the feel if you want to. Below that is your tint, and you go from green to magenta. This photo doesn't have any particular tint as it's currently set, but that often happens when you're shooting under challenging lighting conditions, such as under fluorescent lights. Now, if we go down a little bit here, you can see these are the main, if you can see where my mouse is circling here, these are the main editing functions in Camera Raw, the ones you got to pay most attention to before you get into the nitty-gritty details. So first off, right off the bat, we got exposure right here. So we can either reduce or increase the exposure of the image. So I'm going to increase the exposure of this image just a tad, brighten it up a little bit, make those pinks pop. I'm also going to pull our contrast up just to really get those strong colors, a little bit higher dark or higher lights and lower darks. Next is the highlights. So if you've increased the contrast a bunch, sometimes you want to pull your highlights down a little bit just to reduce blowout. This is particularly important in areas with sky or very, very light surfaces that can lose color detail. So if you pull back the highlights a little bit, you'd retain the details in the lighter areas of the picture. The same goes for shadows. So you can adjust the shadows either way. These basically function as individual sides of the contrast slider. So you have a little control on either end. And pull just a little bit more shadows because this is a fairly light image with not a lot of black, so I just want to emphasize those darks a little bit. Same here, adjusting the overall whites and blacks. And I like exactly where it is. I'm going to leave both of these as is. You can see how they're affected as I move the sliders. One of the other things I really want to do here is increase the clarity. This just really punches up the detail right in the sort of the sharp areas. It's like a sharpening effect, but it just allows you to do it on a slider without too much fuss. Kind of a simplified version. Dehazing we're not going to worry about. This is not an image that was shot under a sort of a hazy or foggy conditions, or with sort of challenging material that's being shot through like water or something. And then I'm just going to boost the vibrance up just a tad. Vibrance and saturation kind of function similar. Saturation being the intensity of the color, and vibrance also being the intensity, but really focusing on just sort of the more middle ranges of the color as opposed to saturation, which focuses on the whole image. So we're going to keep saturation just where it should be, just at 0, because we don't need more saturation, and just a little bit of vibrance up here. Now this covers the basic sort of functions of Camera Raw. So at this point, we can either click Done, and these are going to be saved to a small file that's actually attached to your Camera Raw file that tells your RAW file what sort of adjustments to make when it's open. The reason this is important is that you're not actually affecting your RAW file's image data. You're not affecting the pixel data. That's all staying true and neutral as you originally shot it. What you've done now is attached a little, essentially interpretive file to your RAW photo that tells your computer how to adjust it when it opens it up. So if we go here, click Done, it's going to save this data, and you can see that now the edits appear in the preview area here. But the original CR2 file or RAW file has not actually been affected. But now you can see, if we open it up again, by double clicking it, it's going to open up in Photoshop. And we can see the final edited file. So thanks for watching my little tutorial on editing in RAW. And stay tuned for next time. We're going to talk about batch editing and how to work with sort of large volume workflows.